Hello everyone, welcome to Adam Tech. We are meeting today to take in hand the Virtualbox tool. This tool is a virtualization tool. It will allow you to set up virtual machines on the physical machine in order to perform tests or others on your virtual machine. It is therefore a computer in a computer. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will meet again next time for new videos on Virtualbox. Hello everyone, welcome back to Adam Tech. Welcome to this new video about Virtualbox. Today I'm going to talk about Ubuntu, which will be the ASO of the virtual machine that we will use on Virtualbox. To do this, we will discuss three kinds of definition. We will see in the first step what is Ubuntu. Then I will define what is the operating system. And finally, we will define what is the ISO of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a Linux operating system based on Debian. It is developed, marketed, and maintained for personal computers, servers, connected objects by the company Canonical, which means it is an operating system for personal computers. Then, I will define what is an operating system. An operating system is a set of programs that allows to run and control a computer device. Of course, there are several types of operating systems, of which the most widespread are to see the Windows operating system. We have the PCs of kind Lenovo, HP, or others. We have the Mac OS operating system for the Apple computers. And we also have the Linux operating system for the PCs and the servers. Then for cell phones, for smartphones like Samsung OnePlus, Xiaomi, we have the Android operating system. And finally, we have iOS, which is the operating system that Apple uses for its cell phones. And then I'm going to define for you what is iOS file is. An iOS file, an image file in an optical disc, is a DVD or Blu-ray, and it contains all the data sectors contained on a disk. Its content is strictly identical to the one present on the basic hard disk. That is to say, an iOS file in a hard disk has the same properties and the same functions as a basic hard disk. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time for the next video about Virtualbox. Hello everyone, welcome to Adam Tech. Today we are going to do a new video on the continuation of the Virtualbox course. In this video, we will discuss two things. The first one, where we will see how to download Virtualbox and how to install it. We will also take the opportunity to discover the interface of Virtualbox, and in the second time, we will also see how to download the Ubuntu ISO, which will be the ISO of the virtual machine that we will use to set up the virtual machines on the physical machines via Virtualbox. We are here on the continuation of the course on Virtualbox. So to download Virtualbox, we go in the first time on a web browser. We will enter Virtualbox in the search bar. Then we will click on Oracle VM Virtualbox. That is to say, go on the site of Oracle Virtualbox. To download Virtualbox, we will click on Download first. Then we will be redirected to the main download page where we will have several download examples. We will click on the link that corresponds to our machine. For example, I work with the Windows machine, so I will click on Windows host. So it depends on the machine you work with. If you work on an OS machine, you click there. So it depends on your machine. I'm going to stop the download because I've already downloaded and installed it. but we are going to go over all that later. So for me, it's useless. So here we are for the second part of the video. In this second part, we are going to see how to download Ubuntu ISO, which will be the ISO of the virtual machine that we will use. For that, we go first of all in our browser. We will try to go on the site of Ubuntu. For that, we will tap Ubuntu in the search box. Then, there we are on the main site of Ubuntu. So we will go first to download, and there you will see we have several tabs of Ubuntu. We have Ubuntu for desktop, for server, for IDO, and for cloud. We will select the Ubuntu which corresponds to our research. That will be at the level of the desktop. After that, we can see that we are on the ISO of the virtual machine that we will use. Here below, we have some rules that we have to follow so that our machine works very well. We need to have at least 4 GB of RAM, and we need to have 25 GB of free space on our external hard disk. Actually, it's the conditions that we have to respect for the virtual machine to work well. So we are going to download the ISO of the virtual machine, which interests us. We will take the last version, 21.10, so we will click on download. So here are the steps to follow to download Ubuntu. You have seen it's not complicated, it is quite fast. For my part, I've already downloaded, so I will cancel it. It's just to make it clear for everyone. And here is a summary of the steps to follow to download the Ubuntu ISO. We are at the end of this video. Thank you for listening to me. I hope everything was clear for you. We'll meet next time for new videos about Virtualbox. Hello everyone, welcome to Adam Tech. We are back today for a new video on Virtualbox. In this new video, we will see together how to install Virtualbox, and we will also discover the different steps to follow to install Virtualbox. And finally, we will see at the end of this video the interface of Virtualbox. We are here for the installation of Virtualbox, so first of all, we must go on the file of downloading of Virtualbox that we downloaded. For me, I left it in the download, so I'll go get it. So there it is. To launch the installation, I double click on Virtualbox. You will see it launches automatically, so we will just have to confirm for it to go well. Then we click on next. We change nothing. We leave it as it is. We put yes. You will see the installation starts automatically. So there you go. It's quick and easy. So this is the authorization I'm talking about. This is the authorization Virtualbox needs to work properly in your machine. So we will say yes to the authorization. Then we will wait quickly until the end of the installation. So this is the end of the installation. We will click on finish, and then we will see the Virtualbox interface that will open automatically by itself. So here we have the interface of Virtualbox. This is what the interface of Virtualbox looks like. We have everything here. There are the settings. Here, for example, to add hard disks, we click on add. Then to restart, to create a new virtual machine, we put new. Then we just have to fill in the information of the machine we want. Whether it's for Windows Server 2016 or an Ubuntu server, it doesn't matter. It really depends on what you want to virtualize on Virtualbox. So this is already the end of this video on Virtualbox. I hope you liked it. We will meet next time for a new video on Virtualbox. So we are here on Virtualbox for the creation of the new virtual machine. The virtual machine that we will create will be named Ubuntu SRV. We are going to begin by initiating a new virtual machine. For that, we are going to click on New. Here we must give a name to the virtual machine. We will call it Ubuntu SRV. So Ubuntu SRV to say Ubuntu server. After naming it, you will notice that the system detects that Ubuntu is of Linux type automatically and that is created on a 64-bit version. Regarding memory, the virtual machine needs at least 2 gigs of memory. This corresponds to about 2048 for the memory. So here we are going to register 2048 so that whole virtual machine functions well, so that it doesn't slow down. Then we can leave the default value, which corresponds to 1024, which is about 11 GB of RAM. With 1024, the machine will work, it's just that it will be a bit longer. But that's not what we want here, so we are not going to take any risks, and we will put 2048 in memory. So now the software suggests that we create a virtual hard disk. We are not going to change it because that's not what we are interested in. So here we will leave it as a virtual hard disk. Then we are going to click on Create. For the type of hard disk file, we choose VDA, so we leave the default value. For the storage of the physical hard disk, we choose size fixed because it is often faster and easier to use. According to the requirements for the proper functioning of whole virtual machine, we need at least 25 gigs. But here we will enter 50 gig for the size of the hard disk, just to have enough margin. After that, we will have to see if our PC is much larger in terms of storage. You can put in much more space for the virtual hard disk. So after we have chosen the size of the virtual hard disk for our virtual machine, we are going to click on Create to create a virtual machine. Now this is going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to pause the video and come back later at the end of the creation of this virtual machine. So after creating the virtual machine, you can see that here are all the steps we had to take since the beginning of the operation. Here you can see that we have chosen the name Ubuntu server that has been coded on 64-bit, the RAM that we have chosen in 2048, the choice of the hard disk. The display is also here. We're going to notice in storage that there is no hard disk, that therefore we will have to go and find one, because otherwise the installation of a machine will not follow and it is not what we want here. So for that, there is a very important step not to forget, that is to set up the storage of the virtual machine. For that, we must go to select the ISO of the virtual machine that we downloaded during the previous course. This is the image that we will use to make our virtual machine, so we will go to Configuration. Then we have to go to Storage, and here it is empty, and therefore it is there that we have to insert our ISO. So for that, we are going to click here to choose the virtual hard disk. So normally it's already listed, mine is listed here. If yours is not, you can choose in hard disk in your files. It depends on where you have stored it. For example, I left it in the download. If you have it on the desktop, you go to your desktop and you look for it. So I'm going to take it there. Then we will just have to click OK, and then we will have everything in place for our Ubuntu machine to be operational. So I hope you have understood all the steps to follow to perform a virtual machine creation that we just created. And finally, we will just have the final installation to do after launching the machine. So here we are. This is already the end of this video. I hope you liked it and that you understood everything. That is to say, all the steps we had to do to create the virtual machine. Thank you for listening to me. See you next time.